My husband tried to force me out of our business after 15 years of building it together. Biggest mistake of his life. Sign the papers, Imani, he said, sliding the divorce settlement across our marble kitchen island in our Buckhead home. His voice was cold, detached, like I was just another business deal gone bad. You'll get the house. That's more than fair. More than fair? I built this empire with my bare hands while he was out here playing CEO in suits I bought him. His new CFO, yeah, that kind of CFO, stood behind him, her hand on his shoulder. The disrespect was suffocating. Marcus will retain 100% ownership of Essence Hair Care, his lawyer added, not even making eye contact with me. Mrs. Johnson will exit as co-founder and surrender all equity. In exchange, she receives the Buckhead property and a one-time payment of $200,000. I looked at my husband of 17 years, the man I'd helped transform from a community college student with a dream into the owner of a $50 million natural hair care empire. His side chick, his chief financial officer, Amber, smirked at me. She actually smirked. My son, our 19-year-old son Isaiah, sat in the corner looking at his phone. He didn't even look up. Mom, just sign it, he said flatly. Dad's been running things anyway. You're holding up the process. That's when I smiled. Okay, I said calmly. I'll sign, but I'm writing my own version. I pulled out my phone, opened notes, and typed one sentence. One single sentence I'd been preparing with my attorney for 6 months. I signed it, dated it, slid it back across the island. Marcus barely glanced at it before stuffing it in the folder. Finally, some sense. Amber whispered something in his ear. They both laughed. I walked out of that house, my house, with nothing but my purse and my dignity. 3 days later, my phone rang at 6:47 a.m. Mrs. Johnson, this is Gerald Hampton from Hampton and Associates. The voice said, tight and stressed. We represent your husband in the dissolution proceedings. We need to discuss the language in your resignation document immediately. What about it? I asked, sipping my coffee. The clause that makes your resignation effective only upon, he paused, and I could hear papers shuffling. Full and complete settlement of all marital property, business equity, deferred compensation, intellectual property rights, and contractual obligations as outlined in the original LLC operating agreement signed in 2009. I didn't say anything. Mrs. Johnson, this language is problematic. How so? It suggests your departure is conditional, that you remain a 50% owner and co-founder until certain payments are made. That's exactly what it means, I said. I'm glad we understand each other. Silence. The amount you're claiming, his voice cracked slightly, the amount is $3.2 million plus retained equity. That's correct. Plus legal fees. Mrs. Johnson, your husband disputes. My husband accepted the resignation letter. In front of witnesses. He signed the acknowledgement of receipt. It's binding. I hung up. Before I tell you what happened next, drop a comment with your city. I want to see how far the story reaches across Black community. But to understand why I stayed so calm while my own husband, his mistress, and my son were looking at me like I was nothing, you need to know the full story. My name is Imani Johnson, and I'm 44 years old. I grew up in the 7th Ward of New Orleans, Louisiana, where my grandmother ran a beauty shop out of her shotgun house on St. Bernard Avenue. That shop was everything: community center, counseling office, gossip hub, and the safest place in the neighborhood. I grew up watching my grandmother transform women. Not just their hair, but their spirits. A woman would come in tired, beaten down by life, and leave standing taller. Hair done, edges laid, confidence restored. Grandma Celine taught me early, baby, our hair's our crown. But these products they're selling us, poison, lie burning our scalps, chemicals we can't even pronounce. One day, somebody's gonna create something better. Might as well be us. I never forgot that. I met Marcus Johnson in 2007 at Southern University in Baton Rouge. He was a senior, I was a junior. He was charming, ambitious, and had that New Orleans swag that felt like home. He was studying business administration. I was deep into chemistry and cosmetic science. We fell hard and fast. He'd talk about building something big, a business, a legacy, something we could pass down. I talk about formulations, natural ingredients, creating products that actually worked for our hair without damaging it. "Why don't we do it together?" he said one night in the library. "You create the products. I'll build the business." We got married in 2008, right after I graduated. Small ceremony at my grandmother's church in New Orleans. Second line and all. Our son Isaiah was born 9 months later. We moved to Atlanta in 2009 because that's where the culture was shifting. Black excellence was booming. Natural hair was becoming a movement. Instagram was taking off, and Black women were finally rejecting the creamy crack and embracing their textures. We started Essence Hair Care in our one-bedroom apartment in College Park with $8,000 in savings and a prayer. I worked in the kitchen like a mad scientist. Shea butter from Ghana, coconut oil, Jamaican black castor oil, hibiscus extract. I tested formulas on myself, on friends, on women at the salon schools around Atlanta. Marcus hit the streets. He went to beauty supply stores in Bankhead, Cascade, Decatur, Lithonia, Stone Mountain, East Point. He pitched our leave-in conditioner, our hair growth oil, our edge control. At first, rejection after rejection. "We already got products. Nobody knows your brand. Come back when you got real distribution." But Marcus had this gift. He could talk to anyone. He convinced shop owners to put just 5 bottles on the shelf. "If they don't sell in 2 weeks, I'll buy them back myself." They sold. Every time. Word spread through Black Atlanta like wildfire. Women started asking for Essence by name. "Y'all got that Essence growth oil? The one in the green bottle." By 2011, we were in 50 stores across Metro Atlanta. By 2013, we had our own small manufacturing facility in Southwest Atlanta. By 2015, we were in 300 stores across the South, Atlanta, Birmingham, Memphis, Charlotte, Houston, Dallas, Jackson. Revenue hit $2 million that year. Let me be crystal clear about something. Marcus didn't build Essence Hair Care alone. I wasn't just the wife. I wasn't just the formulator. I was the foundation, the engine, the reason we had a product worth selling in the first place. Pillar 1, the formulations. Every single product that made us millions came from my hands. The liquid gold, growth oil that became our flagship product? I created that in 2010 after months of testing different ratios of Jamaican black castor oil, peppermint oil, and rosemary extract. Women swore it grew their edges back in 6 weeks. Dermatologists in Atlanta started recommending it. The Satin Dreams, leave-in conditioner that went viral on YouTube in 2014? Mine. I formulated it specifically for 4C hair after watching hours of natural hair tutorials and reading comments from frustrated women saying nothing worked for their shrinkage. The crown and glory, edge control that stays laid for 48 hours without flaking? I cracked that formula in 2016 using a blend of beeswax and argan oil that nobody else had figured out. I held every trade secret in my head, the exact temperatures for mixing, the pH levels that kept products stable without harsh preservatives. The supplier in Accra, Ghana, who sent us raw shea butter that was 3 times better than anything available in the U.S. I wasn't in the back, just pouring ingredients into bottles. I was a scientist. I understood the molecular structure of keratin, the way natural oils penetrate the hair shaft, the chemistry of moisture retention. When competitors tried to copy our products, they failed. Because they didn't have me. Pillar 2, brand identity and community. Marcus handled sales and logistics, but I built the brand. I understood our customer because I was our customer. A black woman tired of products that didn't work, tired of burning her scalp, tired of spending $200 at the salon every 2 weeks just to maintain someone else's standard of beauty. I created our social media presence from day one. I was on Instagram and Facebook talking directly to our customers, sharing hair tips, reposting their transformation photos, hosting natural hair meetups at Piedmont Park in Atlanta. I made Essence feel like ours. Not a corporation, but a family. When the natural hair movement exploded between 2012 and 2016, we were perfectly positioned because I've been building that community for years. I connected with influencers before influencer was even a real job title. I sent free products to YouTubers like Natural85, Chime Edwards, and Whitney White. They loved our products because they actually worked. When we launched new products, I didn't just announce them. I told the story, where the ingredients came from, why I chose them, how they worked with our hair's unique structure. I built trust. By 2017, Essence Hair Care wasn't just a product line. It was a movement. Pillar 3, the business structure. Here's what Marcus doesn't want anyone to know. I wasn't just a co-founder in spirit. I was a 50% owner on paper. When we formed the LLC in 2009, we filed as equal partners. We both signed the operating agreement. Everything was split down the middle. Marcus contributed the business hustle and sales relationships. I contributed the formulations, the brand identity, and half the startup capital. My grandmother gave me $4,000 before she passed in 2010, God rest her soul. The operating agreement was clear. 50/50 ownership split. Both parties required for major business decisions. In the event of dissolution, all intellectual property, formulations, and brand assets must be valued and split equitably. Any removal of a founding member requires a buyout at fair market value based on independent business valuation. We signed that document at a lawyer's office in Decatur. I still have the original copy in a safe deposit box. 4 years, none of this mattered. We were building together. We were winning together. Marcus was great at operations and distribution. I respected that. He landed us in Target in 2016, a huge deal. He negotiated shelf space in Sally Beauty Supply. He hired a logistics team that got our products shipped on time. I stayed focused on innovation. I launched our men's line in 2017. I developed our kids' detangler in 2018. Every product drop sold out within weeks. Revenue climbed. 2016, $8 million. 2017, $15 million. 2018, $22 million. 2019, $31 million. 2020, $48 million. Pandemic boom. Everyone was doing their hair at home. By 2021, Essence Hair Care was worth $50 million. We moved from College Park to a 6,000 square foot mansion in Buckhead. Isaiah went to Pace Academy, one of the best private schools in Atlanta. We drove luxury cars, took vacations to Dubai and Turks and Caicos. From the outside, we had it all. But the cracks started showing around 2019. It started with late nights at the office. Marcus was always a hard worker, but around 2019, the late nights became constant. He'd come home at 11 p.m., midnight, sometimes 2 a.m. "We're expanding into Walmart," he'd say. "I have to finalize these contracts. I'm meeting with investors about raising capital for a new production facility. The team needs me." I believed him at first. Business was booming. Growth required sacrifice. But then came the distance. We stopped having dinner together. He stopped asking about my day. When I talk about new product ideas, he'd nod absently while scrolling through his phone. Sex became non-existent. We went from multiple times a week to once a month to nothing. When I brought it up, he'd say he was tired, stressed. Building an empire isn't easy, Imani. I threw myself deeper into work. If he was grinding, I'd grind harder. But then I noticed something. Decisions were being made without me. In early 2020, Marcus hired a new CFO named Amber Richardson. She was 29, light-skinned, wore designer everything, and had an MBA from Emory. "We need someone to manage our finances as we scale," Marcus explained. "Amber comes highly recommended." I didn't think much of it. We did need financial infrastructure. But then Amber started appearing everywhere. Strategy meetings I wasn't invited to. Investor dinners I didn't know about. Photos on Marcus's Instagram at business events with her by his side, both of them dressed to the nines. When I asked Marcus about it, he got defensive. "She's the CFO. She needs to be in these spaces. You focus on product development. That's your lane." My lane. I co-founded this company. I own 50% of it. There was no lane. But Marcus started treating me like an employee, not a partner. He'd make decisions and inform me after the fact. "We're discontinuing the lavender line. Sales are down. We're changing manufacturers for the kids' products. Cheaper production costs. I'm hiring a new head of marketing. Someone with corporate experience." I'd push back, and he'd shut me down. "Imani, I'm handling operations now. Trust me." Our son Isaiah started shifting too. He'd always been close to both of us, but around 2021, he became distant with me. Cold, even. He spent more time with Marcus. They go to Hawks games together, work out together. Marcus started taking him to business meetings, introducing him as the future of Essence. When I tried to connect with Isaiah, he'd give one-word answers. How was school? Fine. Want to grab lunch this weekend? Busy. It hurt, but I told myself it was just a phase. He was a teenager becoming a man. He needed his father. I didn't realize Marcus was poisoning him against me. The breaking point came in August 2023. Marcus called me one evening and said we needed to have a family meeting. Important business discussion, he said. I showed up at our Buckhead home thinking we were going to talk about expanding the product line or maybe finally addressing the tension in our marriage. Instead, I walked into an ambush. Marcus sat at the head of our dining table. His divorce attorney, Gerald Hampton, sat to his right with a leather folder in front of him. Amber, the CFO, stood behind Marcus, her hand on his shoulder. And Isaiah sat across from them, scrolling on his phone. Sit down, Imani, Marcus said. I sat. Gerald slid a document across the table toward me. Mrs. Johnson, we're here to discuss the dissolution of your marriage and your departure from Essence Hair Care. My heart dropped. Marcus leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. I want a divorce, and I'm buying you out of the business. I looked at him, my husband of 15 years, the father of my child, the man I'd built an empire with. You've been checked out for years, Marcus continued. The business has outgrown your contributions. We need someone with vision at the leadership level. Amber squeezed his shoulder. The disrespect was suffocating. I looked at the papers. The terms were insulting. Marcus retains 100% ownership of Essence Hair Care. I surrender all equity, intellectual property rights, and claims to the business. I receive the Buckhead house, valued at $1.8 million, and a one-time payment of $200,000. I agree to a non-compete clause barring me from working in the beauty industry for 5 years. This is more than fair, Gerald said. You're walking away with substantial assets. I almost laughed. Essence Hair Care was worth $50 million. I owned half. My share was worth $25 million. And they were offering me $200,000 and a house. Sign tonight, and we'll keep this civil, Marcus said. Fight me and I'll drag this out. Legal fees will eat up whatever you think you're owed. Isaiah finally looked up from his phone. Mom, just sign it. Dad's been running everything anyway. You're just the product person. This is what's best. That hurt worse than anything Marcus said. My own son. The child I carried. The boy I raised. Looking at me like I was expendable. I stared at the three of them. Marcus, cold and detached. Amber, smug and comfortable in my home. Isaiah, indifferent. Then I smiled. Okay, I said calmly. I'll sign. But I'm writing my own terms. Marcus frowned. We already have the paperwork. I said I'll sign. My way. I pulled out my phone, opened my notes app, and typed one sentence. A sentence my attorney Naomi Clark and I had crafted over 6 months of quiet preparation. I read it aloud as I typed. I hereby resign from all operational duties at Essence Hair Care, effective upon full and complete settlement of all marital property, business equity, deferred compensation, intellectual property rights, and contractual obligations as outlined in the original LLC operating agreement signed in 2009, Georgia state law, and any applicable federal statutes. I signed it digitally, airdropped it to Gerald's laptop, and slid my phone across the table so they could see the screen. Marcus barely glanced at it. Finally, some sense. Gerald looked it over quickly. It states resignation. That's sufficient. Amber whispered something in Marcus's ear. They both smiled. Isaiah went back to his phone. Not one of them paused on the conditional language. They saw the word resign and assumed victory. I stood up, grabbed my purse, and walked out of that house without another word. As I got in my car, I heard Amber laugh from inside. I drove to my attorney's office in Midtown. Naomi was waiting. Did they take the bait? She asked. Hook, line, and sinker, I said. Good, Naomi replied, pulling out a folder 3 inches thick. Now we make them pay. 3 days after I signed that resignation letter, my phone rang at 6:47 a.m. Mrs. Johnson, this is Gerald Hampton from Hampton and Associates. His voice was tight, stressed, nothing like the confident attorney from the dinner. We need to discuss the language in your resignation document. What about it? I asked, sipping my coffee in my new apartment in Buckhead. Ironic, I know. The clause that makes your resignation effective only upon full and complete settlement. He paused, papers shuffling in the background. This language is problematic. How so? It suggests your departure is conditional, that you remain a 50% owner until certain financial obligations are met. That's exactly what it means. Silence. Mrs. Johnson, the amount you're claiming. His voice actually cracked. The amount is $3.2 million, plus legal fees, plus retained equity if settlement isn't reached within 90 days. More silence. Your husband disputes these terms. My husband accepted the resignation letter. In front of witnesses. Your firm acknowledged receipt in writing. It's binding. Mrs. Johnson, Counselor, let me be clear. That resignation letter references the original LLC operating agreement from 2009. You can pull it. It's filed with the Georgia Secretary of State. I could hear him typing frantically. That agreement stipulates that in the event of dissolution or departure of a founding member, the remaining party must buy out the departing party at fair market value. Fair market value of a $50 million company is $25 million. My 50% stake is worth $25 million. However, I continued, I'm being generous. I'm willing to accept $3.2 million plus my intellectual property rights. That includes all product formulations, trade secrets, supplier relationships, and the right to use my work in future ventures outside of a non-compete. Gerald tried to speak. I kept going. The $3.2 million breaks down as follows. $1.2 million for my equity share at a significantly reduced valuation. $800,000 for deferred compensation and bonuses tied to company performance from 2019 to 2023. $600,000 for intellectual property rights to formulations I created. $400,000 for severance and violation of partnership duties. $200,000 for emotional distress and punitive damages. Mrs. Johnson, your husband will never agree. Then I remain a 50% owner. And as a 50% owner, I have rights. I can block major decisions. I can demand access to all financial records. I can call for a full audit. I can sue for breach of fiduciary duty. I paused. I can also go public. Essence Haircare's brand is built on community, authenticity, and black love. How do you think our customers will react when they find out the co-founder, the woman who created every product they love, was forced out by her husband and his mistress? I'm sorry, mistress. Gerald sounded genuinely surprised. You didn't know? Amber Richardson, the CFO. She and Marcus have been sleeping together since 2020. I have text messages, photos, credit card statements showing hotel rooms. If this goes to court, it all becomes public record. Dead silence. I'll be in touch with your office within 48 hours with a formal demand letter. You have 30 days to respond. After that, I file suit. I hung up. Naomi, who was sitting across from me, grinned. You're a savage. I learned from the best, I said. The next 4 weeks were psychological warfare. Gerald called back 2 days later with a counteroffer, $500,000 in the house. I declined. Marcus tried calling me directly. I didn't answer. He sent a text, "You're destroying our family over money." I responded, "You destroyed our family when you brought your mistress into our home." Isaiah sent me a message. "Mom, why are you doing this? Just let Dad have the company." I didn't respond. That hurt the most. A week later, Gerald called again. $800,000 and no intellectual property rights. Declined. Marcus showed up at my apartment. I didn't let him in. He stood outside yelling through the door. "You're being spiteful. You're trying to ruin me. I'm enforcing a contract you signed." I called back. He left after neighbors started watching. Naomi sent a formal demand letter outlining our case. Breach of fiduciary duty. As a 50% partner, Marcus owed me loyalty. His affair with an employee and his attempts to force me out violated that duty. Constructive termination. I was effectively pushed out through hostile behavior, exclusion from decisions, and emotional abuse. Intellectual property theft. My formulations were created during the marriage and business partnership. Any attempt to use them without compensation constitutes theft. Fraudulent inducement. The resignation letter was signed under duress with intentionally misleading terms about what I'd receive. We cited Georgia case law, federal partnership statutes, and IP protections. The letter was 47 pages long. Gerald called within 24 hours. Mrs. Johnson, we're prepared to offer $1.5 million. $3.2 million, I repeated. That's unreasonable. Then we'll see you in court. Discovery should be interesting. I'm sure Walmart and Target would love to know about the instability in Essence's leadership. I could hear him breathing hard. I need to consult with my client. You have 2 weeks, I said. The pressure mounted on Marcus's side. Essence's biggest investors got wind of the legal battle. They started asking questions. Is there going to be a lawsuit? Will this affect operations? Can we still trust the product line if the formulator is gone? Sales started dipping. Word spread on Black Twitter that something was wrong at Essence. Customers started asking questions. Where's Imani? Why isn't she posting anymore? I heard she got forced out by her husband and his side chick. Are the formulations going to change? The natural hair community started turning on Marcus. Influencers who once promoted Essence began distancing themselves. Marcus panicked. He tried to do damage control. He posted on Instagram about new leadership and exciting changes. The comments ripped him apart. Where is Imani? You really did your wife dirty. I'm not supporting a cheater. Switching to melanin hair care. 2.5 weeks after the demand letter, Gerald called again. We're prepared to meet your terms. $3.2 million. Wired within 10 business days. Full intellectual property rights. Mutual non-disclosure agreement. Your husband wants this resolved quietly. And the non-compete clause? I asked. Removed. And I want a public statement. Marcus announces that I'm stepping back to pursue other ventures. No mention of conflict. No negative language. Gerald sighed. Agreed. And one more thing, I added. I want a formal apology. In writing. From Marcus. Mrs. Johnson. That's the deal. Take it or leave it. He called back the next day. We accept all terms. The wire transfer hit my account on a Tuesday morning in October 2023. $3,240,000. Plus another $180,000 for legal fees. I stared at the number on my screen for a long time. Naomi called. Congratulations. Thanks. You okay? Yeah, I said. I'm good. But I wasn't sure if that was true. The written apology from Marcus arrived via email that same day. It was cold, formal, clearly written by Gerald. I regret any misunderstandings that occurred during our business separation. I recognize Imani's contributions to Essence Hair Care and wish her success in future endeavors. Misunderstandings? I deleted the email. Marcus posted the public statement on Instagram that afternoon. After much consideration, my business partner and co-founder Imani Johnson has decided to step back from day-to-day operations at Essence Hair Care to pursue new opportunities. I'm grateful for her contributions and wish her nothing but success. Essence will continue delivering the quality products you love. The comments were mixed. Some people bought it. Others knew better. We know what really happened. Imani deserved better. Good luck without the person who actually made the products. I didn't comment. I didn't respond. I just watched. That same day, I blocked Marcus's number. Blocked him on all social media. Blocked his email. Isaiah tried to call. I didn't answer. He sent a text. Mom, can we talk? I didn't respond. My son had made his choice. He stood by his father while they humiliated me in my own home. Some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. I blocked his number too. The weeks that followed were strange. Quiet. No family dinners. No obligations. No pretending. Friends reached out. I ignored most of them. The ones who stayed close to Marcus weren't my friends anyway. My real circle, women I'd known since College Park, people who saw me build Essence from nothing, they checked in. They knew. I moved out of the Buckhead apartment and into a loft in Old Fourth Ward. Smaller. Simpler. Mine. I started working out again. Eating better. Sleeping through the night for the first time in years. I traveled. Went to Ghana for 3 weeks. Visited the shea butter suppliers I'd worked with for over a decade. They welcomed me like family. I went to Jamaica, spent time at the black castor oil farms, reconnected with the roots of the products I'd created. I started sketching ideas for new formulations. Not for Essence. For me. I didn't follow Essence hair care closely after I left. But information found me anyway. 3 months after the settlement, one of my former employees, someone I'd hired and trained, reached out. Imani, I don't know if you've heard, but things are falling apart here. She told me everything. Marcus tried to reformulate the liquid gold growth oil to cut costs. He replaced the Jamaican black castor oil with a cheaper alternative from China. Customers noticed immediately. The consistency was different. The smell was off. The results weren't the same. Reviews tanked. Returns flooded in. This isn't the same product. What did y'all do to the formula? My hair is breaking off. Essence had to pull the entire batch and issue refunds. Loss: $1.2 million. Amber, the CFO turned girlfriend, apparently had great financial advice. She pushed Marcus to expand too fast. They opened a flagship store in Lenox Mall. Expensive lease, high overhead, low foot traffic. It closed after 8 months. Loss: $800,000. They launched a new skincare line without proper testing or chemist oversight. The moisturizer caused breakouts. The face serum burned people's skin. Lawsuits followed. Settlement costs: $600,000. Marcus tried to replace me with a cosmetic chemist he found on LinkedIn. She lasted 4 months before quitting. He doesn't listen, she told me when she reached out. He thinks he knows better than the scientists. He's running that company into the ground. Within a year of my departure, revenue dropped 35%. 3 major retailers dropped Essence from their shelves. Influencers stopped promoting the products. Competitors swooped in. Melanin Hair Care, Camille Rose, Miel Organics all gained market share. By mid-2024, Essence Hair Care was hemorrhaging money. Marcus had to lay off 40% of the staff. The mansion in Buckhead? He sold it. Downsized to a condo in Midtown. Isaiah dropped out of Pace Academy. Last I heard, he was working part-time at the Essence warehouse. The company that was worth $50 million in 2023. Valued at $18 million by early 2025. And Marcus? He's still there. Grinding. Trying to rebuild. But you can't rebuild what you destroyed out of ego. While Marcus's empire crumbled, I built my own. In January 2024, I quietly launched a new company, Crown Naturals. I funded it entirely with my settlement money. No partners. No husband. No family drama. Just me and a small team of people I trusted. I started with 3 products. Roots of Glory Growth Oil, an upgraded version of liquid gold with even better ingredients. Silk Crown Leave-In Conditioner, lighter, more moisturizing. Heritage Edge Control, the best hold on the market, hands down. I didn't do a big launch. No flashy marketing. Just organic word of mouth. I sent products to the same influencers who'd once loved Essence. The ones who'd been asking where I went. They tried Crown Naturals. They loved it. Y'all, this is what I've been missing. Imani is back. This growth oil is even better than the original liquid gold. Within 3 months, I had 50,000 followers on Instagram. Within 6 months, I was getting 10,000 orders a week. I stayed small. No big retail deals. Direct-to-consumer only. Website and select Black-owned beauty supply stores in Atlanta, Houston, and Charlotte. I kept overhead low. I controlled quality personally. Every batch got my approval. Revenue in year 1, $4.2 million. And I own 100% of it. No husband to betray me. No son to disrespect me. No investors to answer to. Just me, my vision, and women who trust me because I've never let them down. Looking back on everything, I learned some hard truths. Lesson 1. Protect yourself legally from day one. That LLC operating agreement saved my life. If we'd operated as a general partnership, or if I'd been naive enough to trust handshake deals, I'd have walked away with nothing. Every Black woman building something with a partner, husband, boyfriend, friend, family, needs legal protection in writing. Lesson 2. Never assume loyalty equals protection. I assumed because Marcus was my husband, because we built this together, because we had a child together, he'd never betray me. Wrong. People will choose money and ego over love every single time if you let them. Guard your interests even with people you love, especially with people you love. Lesson 3. Document everything. From 2020 onward, when things started feeling off, I documented everything. Text messages between Marcus and Amber, meeting notes where I was excluded, financial records showing company performance tied to my products, customer testimonials specifically requesting my formulations, industry awards with my name on them. That documentation became ammunition when they tried to erase my contributions. Your memory isn't evidence. Emails, texts, contracts, and records are. Lesson 4. Your children can betray you too. This one hurt the most. Isaiah was 19 when he looked at me in that dining room and told me to just sign the papers. Like I was nothing. I raised him, sacrificed for him, worked 80-hour weeks so he could go to private school and have everything he needed. And he chose his father's money over his mother's dignity. Some relationships can't be saved, even with your own children. I had to make peace with that. Lesson 5. The same community that built you will support you when you rebuild. Black women rallied around me when I launched Crown Naturals. They knew what happened even if I never said it publicly. They felt the betrayal through the silence. When I came back with my own line, they showed up. They bought. They shared. They championed me. Because Black women understand what it means to be underestimated, pushed out, and erased. We protect our own. Lesson 6. Revenge is a dish best served cold and profitable. I didn't destroy Marcus through spite or pettiness. I destroyed him by being better. Better products, better business practices, better relationships with the community. While he was cutting corners and chasing fast money, I stayed true to quality. The market corrected itself. You don't need to fight your enemies. Just outlast them. It's been over 2 years since I walked out of that Buckhead house. Marcus. Essence Hair Care is still limping along, but barely. Current valuation, around $12 million, down from $50 million. He and Amber broke up 6 months after the settlement. Turns out she was just there for the money and status. When both started drying up, so did her interest. He tried reaching out to me twice. Once through a mutual friend asking if I'd consider consulting for Essence to help stabilize the formulations. I ignored it. The second time was a direct email in November 2025. Imani, I know I don't deserve your time or forgiveness. I was wrong. About everything. I let ego and outside influences destroy what we built. I'm sorry. I hope you're doing well. I read it once. Deleted it. Moved on. Isaiah. My son is 22 now. He works at a gym in Atlanta. Dropped out of college after 1 semester. He tried calling me on my birthday last year. I didn't answer. He sent a text on Christmas. Mom, I'm sorry. I was young and stupid. Can we talk? I didn't respond. Maybe one day I'll be ready. But not yet. The wound is still too fresh. Trust, once broken that deeply, takes years to rebuild. And honestly, I'm not sure I want to rebuild it. Me. Crown Naturals is thriving. Year 2 revenue. $8.6 million, all profit going directly to me. I have 14 products now. A men's line, a kids line, a scalp treatment line for people with alopecia and medical hair loss. I employ 47 people, all Black women except for 2 warehouse managers. I pay them well, offer full benefits, profit sharing, because I remember what it was like to build something and get nothing in return. I bought a house in Cascade Heights. Nothing flashy, just comfortable. 3 bedrooms, a home office, and a backyard where I can think. I'm dating someone new. A doctor from Morehouse. He's kind, supportive, and has his own money. No interest in my business except to see me happy. We take things slow. I'm in no rush. I travel often. Ghana 3 times in the past year. Jamaica twice. I'm building direct relationships with suppliers and farmers who grow the ingredients I use. I speak at business conferences now. Black women entrepreneurs reach out constantly asking how I did it. I tell them the truth. Protect yourself legally. Document everything. Build real relationships with your community. Never let anyone, husband, family, partner, make you feel like your contributions don't matter. And when they try to push you out, make them pay for it. The story always gets applause. The industry, People in the natural hair care industry know what happened even if the public story was sanitized. They know Marcus tried to force me out and it backfired. They know Essence fell apart without me. They know Crown Naturals is the real legacy of what we built together. I get offers regularly to sell the company. Private equity firms, larger beauty corporations, even some venture capital groups focused on Black-owned businesses. The highest offer so far, $15 million for 60% stake. I declined. I'm not interested in partners anymore. I've been down that road. I know how it ends. This company is mine. Fully mine. And I'm building it exactly the way I want. Slow, sustainable, quality-focused, community-driven. No shortcuts. No outside pressure. No compromises. If you're a Black woman reading this, whether you're in Memphis, Houston, Detroit, Chicago, Los Angeles, Charlotte, or anywhere else, here's what I want you to understand. Your contributions matter. If you're building something with a partner and you feel yourself being sidelined, erased, or taken for granted, pay attention to that feeling. Document everything. Protect yourself legally. And when the time comes, don't be afraid to walk away and take what's yours. They'll call you greedy, spiteful, bitter, difficult. Let them. Because while they're talking, you'll be building your own empire. Marcus thought he could replace me. He learned the hard way that you can't replace the foundation. When I left, I took the recipes, the relationships, the trust, and the talent with me. He kept the name and the building. And now he's struggling to keep the lights on while I'm scaling a business that's 100% mine. This is what winning looks like. Not loud, not flashy, just steady, strategic, and profitable. I sleep well at night. Can Marcus say the same? Drop a comment below and tell me, what city are you watching from? And have you ever had to walk away from something you built to protect yourself? Share the story with every Black woman you know who's building something. She needs to hear this, because our stories matter, our businesses matter, and we deserve to own what we create. Period.